Hi guys, welcome to this episode of I Wanna Eat. Today we're going to be making a beef rib sandwich with a homemade barbecue sauce. I was originally trying to do something like an upscaled McRib. We're not going to be recreating it exactly, but it is what inspired me to make this sandwich. Here you can see we have a few beef ribs with the short rib meat still attached. Now, let's make our homemade barbecue sauce. We're going for a sauce that's more on the sweet and sour side, not something too thick. First, add a 1/4 cup of brown sugar to a bowl. Then add an equal amount of ketchup. And about a tablespoon of mustard. I like whole grain mustard, but use any kind of mustard that you like. Then about a teaspoon of either okonomi sauce, which I'm using here, or Worcestershire sauce. And about a teaspoon of chili paste. You can add more if you want a spicier sauce, or skip this altogether. Then about a tablespoon of garlic powder. And a big pinch of salt. And about a teaspoon of black pepper. And lastly, a dash of soy sauce. Then whisk them together in the bowl. Keep whisking until smooth, then give it a quick taste. Then add vinegar according to your tastes. I'm using about a teaspoon. And I'll also add a little bit more salt. Now our barbecue sauce is done, so let's spoon some of the sauce onto our beef ribs. And then we're just going to rub the sauce into our beef ribs. We're going to be doing this twice, so try to use around half of the sauce now and set the other half of the sauce aside for later. Make sure to get the sauce into all the nooks and crannies of the ribs. We want them entirely coated. The sauce will eventually caramelize in the oven, so we want to make sure the ribs are entirely coated. That way we end up with a nice crispy crust on the outside of the ribs when we're done. Here you can see we have about half the sauce left, so we'll set it aside for now. Now, just like with our dry rubbed ribs from before, we're going to put a tent of aluminum foil on top. Fold the foil in half to create a crease. Then crimp the foil around the sides of the pan. And pull the crease back up to create that tented shape. This foil tent will help the ribs to cook without the steam dripping back onto them, which will help create a crust when they're done. Now, we'll put the beef ribs into a 275 degrees Fahrenheit oven, about 135 degrees Celsius, for 2 hours. Two hours later, we'll take the ribs out of the oven. Then turn the oven up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, about 205 degrees Celsius, and let it preheat. Then take off the foil. You can see that there's a lot of water and oil in the bottom of the pan. We'll want to discard this, and then we'll rub most of the remaining barbecue sauce that we set aside earlier onto the beef ribs. Just like before, we're going to spoon the sauce onto the meat and then rub it in with our hands, but be careful because they are very hot. Again, make sure the meat is completely covered into every nook and cranny because this sauce is what's going to create the crust that we want later. Once the meat is completely covered in the sauce, we'll put the ribs back in the oven uncovered. We'll leave the ribs in the oven until crispy, about 30 minutes. Once the sauce is caramelized and crispy, take the ribs out of the oven. At this point, the ribs are extremely tender but still have a little bit of bite to them, so they're soft but won't fall apart in your hand. So now we're just going to slide the meat right off the bone like so. Be sure to do this while the meat is still hot and it should come off completely clean. Keep doing this for all the ribs, they should all slide off without much effort. Just be careful not to burn yourself. As I always say, steam burns are some of the most unpleasant burns you can get. So just keep doing this for all the ribs and you'll end up with huge slabs of boneless meat which we'll make into sandwiches. And here you can see we have beautiful, huge, thick pieces of boneless short rib. Now for the sandwiches. Here we have some homemade hamburger buns. Let us know in the comments if you're interested in the recipe, but feel free to use store-bought bread as well. We'll just cut them in half. And we'll just set them aside next to some sliced red onion. Then we have some homemade pickles. Again, let us know if you're interested in the recipe. And then with the toppings ready, we're going to slice the beef into about 1/4 inch slices. The meat is soft and tender, but not mushy or falling apart, and still incredibly juicy. Now, let's assemble the sandwiches. We'll put 3 or 4 pieces of beef on the bread. You could also make sliders, in which case you'd be using 1 piece per bun. Then, top both the meat and the bun with our homemade barbecue sauce. I've heated the sauce up a bit in the microwave off camera. Then, add the pickles to the top bun. And the sliced red onion to the bottom. Then, just put the halves together and done. And here you can see our finished beef rib sandwich. Let's get a quick cross section so we can take a look inside. Tender and juicy beef ribs plus sweet and tangy homemade barbecue sauce are a match made in heaven. This is also incredibly easy to make, so I really recommend trying this recipe out yourself at home and letting us know what you think. Thank you everyone so much for watching this episode of I Wanna Eat. If you found yourself enjoying this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment what recipe you'd like to see next. We're a new YouTube channel and we upload weekly, so it really helps us out. Thank you.